guys, Jag on Tech here, and I'm back with something I never thought I'd be talking about anytime soon. But yeah, I was able to get my hands on one of the most exciting and one of the most popular phones of this year, the new iPhone SE. I've been using this for over a week now, and it's been really great. I got the white one only because this is the best move that Apple has made with their color schemes. They finally got rid of the white fronts and made them all black fronts across the board. So the white one right here just looks really good. The price starts at only $399 and goes up to $549. But this will vary depending on where you live. This comes in 3 colors, white, black, and product red, which helps in Apple's mission to fight COVID-19. So if you're getting this, you're doing it for a good cause. At this price point, you can't really expect much in the box. Well, you never really get anything special in any iPhone box. You still get the same 5-watt charging brick, and mine is from Hong Kong, that's why it looks different. The Lightning earpods and the proprietary Lightning connector, which Apple is rumored to ditch for next year's iPhone 13, and will be replaced with a magnetic charger, a lot like the MagSafe charger that they had in old MacBooks. And I'm excited for that, because if they do it, this one day might change the way the iPhone works. The design is very familiar, as you can see. This is housed by the body of an iPhone 8, so you get the same glass back, aluminum frame, single camera setup, the big forehead and chin, and of course, the home button. The only cosmetic change here is that they moved the Apple logo down to the middle and removed the iPhone text to match all the newer iPhones. I guess we can all assume that the SE naming stands for Special Edition, and it fits because this phone really is something else, which also means SE. Anyway, diving into this phone, what we want to know is how good is the performance, how good the battery is, and how good the camera is. So what exactly do you get for a $400 phone? Well, it's got the same 4.7-inch 720p True Tone display, as seen on the iPhone 6, 7, and 8. It's not the best display, but it really stands out because Apple has the best LCD screens out there, and the colors are great. Screen brightness on this thing does take a hit when using it outdoors, but I wouldn't say it's bad at all. The True Tone display, on the other hand, is one of the small things I love about iPhones that not a lot of people pay attention to. This display adjusts to ambient lighting, which means if you're in a room with warm lights, then your screen will turn warm as well. If it's in a room with white or cool lights, then your screen will adjust to that. This is done with the help of the sensors found on top of the earpiece. Performance-wise, it ships with iOS 13 and is powered by the monstrous A13 Bionic processor, so you basically get the same software features and speed found on an iPhone 11 and 11 Pro. And thanks to the updated internals, it just busts through all the apps and everything else that you want the phone to do. It's mind-blowing how something this small can possess so much power and be a lot faster than other flagship phones right now. The battery is pretty small at around 1800 mAh, but because the phone is so tiny, it doesn't require a lot of power, so this can get you a good amount of screen time with moderate usage. I've personally been using mine for Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, photo taking, and TikTok, and I would always get a 5 to 6 hour screen on time, and I was very impressed. It easily makes it the budget phone with the longest battery life. Plus, it has wireless charging, so it's always good to have that. Speaking of small, I just want to say that it's such a big relief to finally be using a phone that fits comfortably in your hand. It took some time to get used to, since all smartphones now have screens that are roughly the same size of the entire iPhone SE itself, but I love it. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy with its size because you can easily reach every point of the phone with one hand and it just fits right into your pocket. It got bumped up to 3 gigs of RAM instead of 2, which is kinda low, but totally fine because the optimization of iOS allows apps to run in the background using the least amount of memory. Unlike Android phones, they're packed with so much RAM because they're less optimized than iPhones. It is water and dust resistant with an IP67 rating, so this will be totally safe in 1 meter underwater for 30 minutes. This only applies to fresh water though, and not salt water, so be careful with that. You don't get Face ID, but you do get the blazing fast and more reliable Touch ID sensor. I mean, in the world of face masks and other mouth coverings, this sure does come in handy. I actually missed Touch ID, like, a lot. Come to think of it, It makes the phone feel more secure since you have an interaction with the phone before it gets unlocked. So I really hope Apple finds a way to put Touch ID beneath the display in future iPhones. That would be totally awesome. It's unknown if Apple put anything new in the camera, but as expected, you can take extremely good photos with this phone. I would say it's the second best budget phone camera, number one being the Google Pixel 3a and soon enough the Pixel 4a. There is no ultra-wide nor telephoto lens, but let's not forget that this is a budget iPhone. All you get is a 12 megapixel wide-angle lens that does a lot more than what you think. Whether it's an old camera system or not, the A13 Bionic helps a lot with how photos are processed. It's great in well-lit areas as it gives out incredible detail as all iPhones do. High dynamic range or HDR on this phone can compete well against today's flagships. It may not be as welcoming to harsh lights, but you still get a good photo regardless. Once you take photos in the dark, that's where it takes a hit. There is no night mode on this phone, so it really does struggle as photos turn grainy and it isn't as bright as one with night mode, but you still get decent results, so that's good. The selfie camera performs surprisingly well with only a 7 megapixel sensor. You can take your favorite portrait mode shots on this and get great results. Also, dynamic range here is really impressive thanks to the A13 Bionic. Videos on this phone are majestic, no doubt the best in the market when it comes to video taking. It doesn't have any fancy resolution like 8K video, but you don't really need that to get good results. All you need is good stabilization, good autofocus, excellent quality, and this phone knocks everything out of the park. Alright guys, so I'm back in the park, but this time I'm doing a front camera test on the iPhone SE 2020. So, colors are great, as expected from an iPhone camera. Although, dynamic range is pretty poor on this one. I mean, it still gets a little bit of detail in the sky, but when it comes to the sun, like harsh light, then it doesn't perform so well. Okay, you're probably thinking, why would anyone want to buy an iPhone with one camera, big bezels, and a low resolution display? But the question is, why wouldn't anyone want to buy this? I mean, it's cheap, has strong performance, and it's an iPhone. The reason why Apple did not make any more changes to this phone, like shrinking the bezels a little bit or adding another camera, is because that will just drive the price up even more. So they just used existing hardware and stuck in the best performance that they had. I mean, with that $400 price tag, you'll be able to get the next 5 to 6 versions of iOS, and a lot more people prefer iPhones because of their software. But then they are way too expensive nowadays, and some features aren't even necessary for a good amount of people. They just want something that's reliable. So, here's Apple's solution to that problem. The iPhone SE was never made to flex on what it could do, but it was made to give people a phone with top-of-the-line performance with a low price tag. If someone told me I couldn't use my Galaxy S20 Plus or an 11 Pro Max, I'd honestly be okay with that. For something so simple and compact, I'm surprised with how much this amazes me. Like after almost 2 weeks of using this, I realized it had everything I need in a phone. And I was very content with what I had. This is basically the perfect phone for anybody, because there's nothing wrong with it. It checks all of the boxes and nails all the fundamentals. It's got solid hardware, good speakers, a good screen, an awesome camera, fast performance, and a great operating system. That's what this phone is all about. So if you decide to pick one up, I guarantee you that you will get more than your money's worth. Alright, that's been it. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Just want to remind you all that WWDC 2020 is coming up in a couple weeks. So we'll finally get to see software updates from Apple, especially iOS 14. And I'm very excited for that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.